Okay. Okay, so let's start by describing who you are. I'll put a link to your Instagram page, Miss Irene Handmade. Uh, but basically, you are primarily a textile artist, right? And you pretty much do it from scratch, i.e., you make your own dyes. You do a lot of research about the uh, plant-based dyes.
Right.
And they're all natural-based dyes. You only use plant-based dyes. Uh, and you tend to be quite local, like you will source locally those plants to develop your dyes.
Mm-hmm.
So like I mean, like I know in JB you were always interested in like ketapang, which
Oh,
is the
yes.
sea
Yeah.
almond. Okay, so that's what you do. You do dye, but you also do textile type arts like I never remember the
The
name of the one where you tie.
macrame.
Huh?
Yeah, the macrame.
Oh, you do macrame, yeah.
And
But the
also I
textiles
doing the
you do
weaving.
what's the one you tie and dye? The
Oh,
Japanese one?
shibori. Shibori?
Shibori, yeah.
Yeah.
You do quite a lot of indigo dyeing,
Yes, I do. Yeah.
and you do eco printing,
Yeah.
which is quite interesting. Yeah. Uh, what else? Anything? Have I missed anything?
Fabric weaving. So I weave the fabric as well.
Do you
I
really?
do. Yeah. I weave
Not
fabric.
make the fabric. You just dye the fabric, right?
No, I weave the fabric.
You weave the fabric, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know this. Where are you doing this?
I do it in my home, my JB studio.
Oh, really? I didn't know this.
I I did with some of my textile, and
Oh,
I'm
okay,
going to
interesting.
improve my skill. I'm going to improve my skill by learning the improve my backstretch weaving skill in Taiwan soon.
So
So
do you have a loom? You have a small loom?
yes,
Wow. Okay.
mm-hmm.
Wow, interesting. Okay, however, so you're based in JB, so I know you because you are a fellow JB resident, but you
Yes.
also spend a lot of your time abroad. So like right now you're in Pi. How much time do you spend in Pi a year, roughly?
And I will come to Pi every 2 or 3 months. So I will usually stay in Pi at least for 1 month, but usually I will stay up to 2 to 3 months here sometimes.
Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And why
Because
do you do that? What's your attraction to Pi?
my attractions, okay, as you can see the view, the surroundings, the
Okay, it's pretty,
environment
yeah,
is
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah, and the resources because I use the natural, I use the plant as for my dyeing resource, so it's easy for me to sourcing. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
I want to
especially
get
I
back
will
to that. I
say
want to ask you more specifically about those plans. But let's get back to your traveling thing. So you're spending 3 months in Pi. I know you also go to India quite regularly. Is that still a
mhm.
regular thing? At least once a year?
Yeah, yes, yeah. India is not that many. I maybe once or few years after. So actually, I've been looking for fabrics, not only in India, also Nepal.
Nepal. Okay.
Mm.
And when you were going to India, you were generally were you going to Rajasthan mainly?
Yes.
Okay. And nowhere else, mainly Rajasthan, right?
Mm.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's actually quite a few of our network from India. So, you
Mhm.
know, um, okay. So you don't go to India so much now. You now divide your time between JB and Pi.
Mm.
Okay. And you maintain a studio in JB, right?
Yes. Yes. Mhm.
Okay. All right. So let's get back um to what you're doing at Pi. So you're are there specific plants that you are particularly interested in Pi that that you work with?
For now, I actually very keen to find out different types of plants I haven't used before
Okay.
because I will keep foraging every day. So I will
Okay.
discover more and more plants here. So because pie is slightly different with JB because pie has season. Like now is springing season. And also I can find some plants that I never see in JB before.
Okay.
So yeah, so what my plan here is that to find out all these plants I never used before. So I had to do the experiment to attract the color with the local plants here as well. And another interesting thing in Pi is Pi has so many artists, has so
Okay.
many artists. Like the textile artists, like the weaver, like there are so many. So we always have different kind of chats. So we exchange the knowledge to each other. So sometimes they were sharing some plants they had just recently used to me. So they encouraged me to use that plant. So I will do the experiment with what they suggest. So it's a very good place for the knowledge sharing.
So these people that are sort of uh, advising you, giving you information, are they local Thai textile artists or are they
Yes,
international ones? Oh, they're local.
local.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with the language?
Most of them they can speak English very well,
Okay.
but I know a little bit of Thai,
Okay.
so should be no problem. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So what are you working on now? What are you working with any particular colors or particular plants that are interesting?
Mm, yeah, because I just arrived Pi like 2 days ago, so I haven't had the chance to go around yet. But there's someone told me about a kind of plum
Plum.
in
Okay.
purple color. So she asked me, she will actually bring the plum to me.
Oh,
Maybe, uh, I don't know, maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow. So I will start to attract the color
okay.
by using the plum. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So the textile people in Pi, how are they making a living? Like, how are they selling their fabrics in Pi itself?
Okay. So Pi is actually uh, a popular travel spot among the Thai people and also for the foreigner as well.
Okay.
So there's a lot of tourists, traveler, they travel to Pi. So there's a lot of local artists who having their own studio and selling the artwork as well.
Okay. So there's a good economy for that in Pi. Okay.
Right.
How
Mhm.
does that compare to JB?
Uh, I would say these two places have their own benefits. So by but to know more in to having more interesting conversation with customer that I found is in Pi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. In JB, who are your customers? Like, are you finding people online? Are they international? Are they Singaporean? How are you selling your work?
They usually the customer of the friend of customer they usually mouth to mouth.
Okay.
So some actually they follow my Instagram for a long time already. So they will just come to visit me to my studio and they start to purchase when while they are going back to maybe KL. So I do have
Oh,
some
okay.
customer. I think half of them they are from KL actually.
Okay. Are they young or young
Uh,
professional types?
I think the age is starting the late 20 until 30 something or 40.
So quite young, they're quite
Mm-hmm.
young.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting that they can appreciate it. They are okay about the price because obviously it's not as cheap as, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
commercially made product.
Yes.
Yeah. And you primarily uh market through Instagram? Do you do you do some craft sort of market type things, right? But do you primarily sell through Instagram?
Yes. I
Okay.
usually will post all my stuff on Instagram and Facebook as well. So yeah, that's all.
Okay, so the thing is you don't just do the textile, you also do the apparel, which I think is quite important because you also are designing the shapes, which are quite interesting. I think you're also quite a good designer in terms of apparel. I mean, just as an outsider that used to do design, I mean, I see your pieces and I think they're very timeless. You can see the fashion relevance, but they're also they're usually very accommodating to, the shapes tend to fit many kinds of bodies. So it's not like, I can see why. So maybe a broad range of people can buy into your things, right?
Right. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much?
But mainly will focus towards the female customer. So because my design is like, as you can see, they are more flowy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
And okay, so are you seasonal? Do you work? I mean, fashion can be quite seasonal driven, or do you just do things as you do them? You don't follow any kind of schedule. I mean, my background as a designer is very, very specific. You know, it's autumn, spring. It's all very specific cycles of clothes that also fit seasonal things. Are you generally, you don't follow, they're just pretty timeless, non-seasonal,
Mhm.
but do you do them at certain intervals or are you just working and maybe you have a spurt and then you have a fair amount of product?
Mm, no, actually, I just doing the things I without any plan. Yeah. That
Okay.
that's it. Yeah, and also it's also depend on where am I. It's like
Okay.
so that's example. So if I in Pi, actually during the year end, so Pi will be very cold by that time. So
Okay.
my fabric that I sourcing will be a little bit
Uh,
thicker. So it's
okay.
the season, yeah.
Okay.
But it's
So
not
there is a seasonal element. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Do you sell much in pie when you're there?
Yes,
Ah, okay.
yeah.
All right.
I have some
So
of
you,
my product in Pi too. I put in my friend shop. I selling that.
ah, okay. So it's quite a nomadic kind of existence, right? It's like
Yeah,
where you are, what plants are available.
yeah.
Okay.
I
Quite
think based on
interesting.
my bloodline, I am nomad, so that's why I work in this way.
Yeah. Do
Yeah.
you see that changing at all? Are you pretty much settled into this lifestyle?
Actually, I've been I've been thinking about this question. I actually think I actually question this to myself. I don't think I settle yet. Not yet. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, real nomads never settle. I mean, they spend their whole life doing it. So maybe that's you. Maybe that's you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, I'm quite looking forward to having my next art residency in Taiwan. So I have a very
Okay,
good partner.
let's talk about that because you were telling me that is something new that you're doing. You're starting to take on more residencies, which also changes like where you are and what you're doing. And you just finished one at where was it? At Ernest Goes.
Ubay Roma art residency at Nicoy Islands, Indonesia.
Sorry, what's it called again? Ruma Uba.
Ubah Rumah. It's
Ubaruma.
like
Okay, okay.
rented house. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. What did you do there?
So Ubah Rumah. Okay, my plan for Ubah Rumah is I need to find out the resources on the island. So
Oh,
what
you haven't done it yet. You haven't done it yet.
I did already. I did already. So I
Oh, you
find
did
actually
already. Okay, okay. Yeah,
yeah. One interesting thing is because I usually foraging on the land, right? So
right.
maybe forest, something. But this time I do the foraging in the sea.
In the where?
So in the sea.
Oh, wow. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, so I collect the algae and the seaweed to make
Okay.
the color. It does make
Cool.
a very beautiful color.
Really?
Seriously. Yeah,
What color is it?
it's like it can turn it to by using different models. It will become brown color and green color as well. There are
Yeah.
different shades of brown color and green. It can produce the olive green as well. It
Wow.
depends on the model. So it's very interesting for me because actually I've been advised by my friend. I know a very good friend. She's a marine biologist on the island. So I asked for her opinion. So what if if I get the seaweed, is that cost and is that harmful to the environment? Is that so actually she said if the place is overgrown with the seaweed, it
Right,
actually
right.
will affect the
Yeah, you're actually
coral.
doing a favor. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think okay, I will use the seaweed.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
yeah.
Is there any examples of your work online for this project?
Yeah, yeah, it's on the Miss Irene Handmade IG I posted online.
Okay. All right. I have to take a look. But
Yeah, and
just
also you can check out the reports in Uba Roma website.
okay. I'll put a link on our post. You know what's also interesting is that um I still follow the trend information that I used to follow when I was, a fashion designer. And there's actually quite an important one called Lee Edelcourt. She has a company called Trend Union. And she can be hit and miss. Sometimes she's really, she's just like psychic, it's like spooky how she absolutely captures what's going on. And then sometimes it's a bit of a myth. So her current one for 2026 or 7, I can't remember which, is actually liquidity. It's about liquids. So it's quite
Wow.
interesting that you think the sea. Yeah. So it's like it looks like water, or it's from the water, or it's from the sea, or it's marine theme, something like that. Kind of interesting, because because sometimes her trends are quite interesting. The themes maybe you can interpret them literally like this, but she's also looking at how the world is, and she's seeing a fluidity in how people are changing, or
Right.
how people are, so how is that affecting what you do? Because people are now very interconnected from a digital point of view. How does the digital technical world affect what you do? For example, all your work, how are you recording it? Do you record it digitally, or is it analog? Do you write in by hand in a notebook?
I am more to analog.
Oh, that really? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's just that sometimes, okay, for the digital, let's say AI. So if I have to say, if I have to show some of the work to my customer, so it's like a customized item. So I will actually describe to the AI. So the AI actually will show up the picture to the customer. So this is more to the digital side
Right.
of me.
But you don't think you would like have a Google spreadsheet and put all your plant stuff and all the results of your experiments and all that kind of stuff? You don't do that?
No.
You would do that analog in your notebook? Wow, okay. Yeah. I'm totally digital. Everything I do. Because so much information I can't process it. So I find that using newer forms of data collection and recording is actually a little bit better. In fact, that landscape keeps changing. Like I'm now moving from Google to there's actually something called Notion, which is also quite good. It's actually quite good for long form recording of stuff, you know. And then probably you'll appreciate this. I'm always trying to move to where it's least expensive as well, because these things they start off free. They offer you these capabilities free, and then they start to charge you for it. And then you need
Yeah.
to start looking for another way to do it. So, okay. Okay. So, what was I going to say? Let me check on I gave you some,
One thing is, I have to say, why do I need to record in with the analog is because I have a lot of color swaps by using different plants color. I have a fabric sample.
you have a
So
swatch.
what if I take a photo with uh the sample, but with the photo, but the color is not that accurate with the photo. So I really need something like to keep it analog.
Uh, okay. So the photo is not accurate. You can't, oh.
I really need to see because sometimes when the camera is not the accuracy is not that good.
You
So
don't use Pantone at all? Okay. Because that's how when I used to work, because we are dealing with when I was working in the state, we're dealing with people all over the world,
yeah,
and we can't rely on you know capture or waiting for things to be sent. So everything is pretty much determined by Pantone.
yeah,
Uh, we or if it's like final decisions are made with lab dips, so they will lab dip 10 versions, and then the designer will pick the final, and they will follow that particular recipe for that color, you know. But the conversation is generally done through a Pantone color reference. Yeah. So you don't do that? You've never done that?
no, but for the Pantone color, yes. When I was a graphic designer, yes. But if
Okay.
I natural dyer, it's very hard for me to based on the Pantone color.
Sure, sure. No, it's hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I am more to analog. Yeah.
Are you do you lean any particular way with colors, or are you just interested in um when you work and then the plants are coming up with your material is creating certain colors, uh or do you like certain colors? Do you have a preferred palette area? You know?
Uh yeah, I like
Yeah.
blue. I like indigo.
So you like the blue family?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because in natural dye, indigo consider it's it's unique for me because indigo need fermentation to attract the color. So for the rest
Okay.
of the color, it's usually I have to boil them and to attract the color. But indigo is very unique. Indigo need to do a long time fermentation in order to get the blue color. So I- it have the I can call it a lot of experience and wisdom in it in order to
Sure,
attract
sure.
the color.
Do you use fermentation for other plant materials?
Okay, another one, the fermentation, I would say the mangrove bark. Yeah, it needs to ferment.
So is that because you learned that it needed it, or you just trying it out? You try unfermented, fermented, you experiment to see
Yeah,
what
by,
results you get.
by all experiments. Yes. But
Yeah.
for the indigo part, I am very very lucky because I have a teacher from India.
Oh, cool.
Hyderabad. He actually sharing all the knowledge like selflessly to me, and until now I still feel very grateful to this.
What is the plant that they use for indigo in India?
Is this because indigo Ferra tinctoria, they have around 12 or 11 or 12 types in the world. So I
Oh,
think one of the is actually kind of similar with what I have grown in Johor Bahru. It's a
okay.
smaller.
But it's Indigo Ferra Tinctoria.
Mm,
It is that plant, yeah. Because they use something different in Japan, right?
yes,
And they
yes.
use something different in the States, I think. They use remember what it's called. Okay. But you're saying within Indigo Ferra Tinctoria there are variants as well between the
Mm,
countries? Okay,
yes.
okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay. So okay, so you this teacher from India is so what kind of thing are you saying he's teaching you well? Is there what is the process different? Are the recipes different?
The recipe is different. Actually,
Oh,
uh, for me, I think to call myself as a dyer, so I need to know how to ferment indigo paste. So, so I trying to grow the indigo, which I success to grow, but the process of fermentation is very hard. So I try
oh,
again and again. It's not success. It's not that good enough. So I a little bit kind of fed up, but I still trying to ask my question in a group. The indigo pacemaking group in India.
okay.
So there's someone sharing all the knowledge, and he even correct my step. Like
Really?
which one, please? Yes.
I love that.
And
Yeah, yeah.
he even shoot a video to show me the proper way to make the
Wow,
indigo
that's
paste.
cool.
I feel so grateful to this person. I'm seriously very, very grateful.
So what was
So he
it? What was
correct
the problem? What was the problem? What were you doing wrong?
the indi not the indigo paste. Glucose. I had to put more glucose level. I had to put more
Glucose.
glucose to change
Oh. Oh yeah, because
the
that helps with fermentation. Yeah, yeah.
yes,
Interesting.
yeah, yeah.
Cool.
The portion of the glucose. So yeah, finally I did it. Like seriously, I'm very grateful to him.
What do they use for the glucose in India? They use a glucose ingredient or is it a sugar or kind of sugar that they use?
Uh, if I'm not wrong, me and him we are using the same thing. I use the tamarind paste, which is the
Tamarind
assam paste.
paste.
Yeah, assam paste. Yeah,
Okay.
but I find that I have correct my way instead of assam paste because it's quite stinky. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So I changed to the palm sugar. Yeah, the palm sugar.
Sure.
So it has the roughly the same effect, but still I need a little bit of assam paste as well. But yeah,
Hmm.
not that much as before.
Interesting.
Mm.
So the tamarind has sugar in it? I didn't know that.
Yes, yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
I'm gonna have to try that because I'm also doing a lot of experimentation with
yeah.
fermentation, but in food. Because as you know, I grow leaves and flowers, and we've gone through. We sell fresh, and then we now anything left over or things that don't go in the boxes, we dry. So we actually have a range of dry product. But recently, I've started to ferment them before I dry them.
Mm,
Because I've done that in stages. I tried one thing and I thought, wow, this really is great. It completely changes the flavor.
mm,
It completely makes it. For example, I ferment. What is the one that I do the most of? Well, mulberry leaves.
mm,
Uh, we have a lot of material because the mulberry, a lot of leaves. We're always trimming it, so we always have leaves.
mm,
And so when I got 3 bottles of leaves, I was like, I need to do something else with this. I've got enough dried leaf. So then I started to ferment it before I dried it, and that's by I we roll it just as they how they manufacture tea. When you roll the leaf, you break the cells down, and then I pack it into a jar and leave it to ferment for like 48 hours. And it is magic. After 48 hours, the fermentation completely transforms the flavor. And it goes from something very green and herbal to something very sort of deep and brown tasting, more like a tea. Yeah. And then recently, I'm now starting to do even more variations. I tried fermenting it in brine, a salt solution. But I found that I left it too long and it got really stinky, but I dried it anyway. But I think I've discovered a great vegan alternative for belacan. It smells like belacan, you know.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's pretty good.
can I
So
try when I get back to JB?
no, no, yeah, yeah, it's kind of quite shocking. Yeah, it's quite shocking. Then the other thing is, I thought it was so stinky that I thought maybe I'll try without the brine. I will just over ferment it just longer, and it's actually quite interesting. It's stinky without that super stinkiness because I think fermenting in a liquid is definitely there's more sort of rot going on.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, but it is a fascinating thing. I don't think though we've done enough development in the fermentation world. I mean, we still got plenty of room to be trying things out. You know, whether it's for culinary use and in your case for color and stuff like that. Yeah. So okay, so that's quite interesting. What about the when you were doing the seaweed? What did you say you were using? The algae. Did you do anything to it, or you just straightforward dry it?
The algae I just foraging in the sea or maybe some after low tide you can see a lot of algae on the beach. So I just collect
Sure.
them. And okay, one interesting is I discovered something. It's called sea moss. So
Sea moss. Okay.
yes, sea moss. When I boil them, it becomes very slimy. And it's
Okay.
very slimy. It cannot be used as a dye color, but it's a very potential ingredient to become um another biodegradable yarn.
Yarn. Okay. Actually, I do know this. I know algae is being used for
Yes,
fabrics.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to
Okay.
try that one.
Ah. But is it a yarn or is it a non-woven fabric? Where you almost like you're drying it like a paper.
It's like driving like a paper, but I need to do a lot of experiment by adjusting the portion of different ingredients to make the texture more durable.
Uh, okay.
It actually is quite durable. Yeah, it's a very good material as well. So when it's getting dry, which really look like a yarn, so you can start to do some crochet quickly. And I think it's very interesting. But I need I think I will start this project after I come back from Taiwan.
Okay. I want to ask you about Taiwan, but before that, let me just ask you. You know, I I think you do so many things so that's quite hard to keep track of you. So you're also crocheting with the yarn. You're doing yeah, because you do macrame. You do crochet. What else do you do? Are you doing anything else?
Uh,
Do you
oh
knit?
yes, I'm making the pigment, the color pigment from stone, the mineral
Oh
pigment.
yeah, which you haven't given me yet. Yeah, you owe me a set, right? You're telling me. Okay.
I will give you. I'm so sorry. I'll give to you
But
when I'm
that
back.
okay, that pigment, that was quite interesting. So you were actually crushing river stones, river stones, right? To make into
Yes,
pigment. And that was for painting. It's like a watercolor
yes.
or yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's like a mineral pigment. You know, when the ancient times, so when the painter do the drawings, right? Where can they go and find the acrylic? So they get the color from natural.
Sure, sure. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I kind of
yeah,
use the ancient method
yeah.
to draw.
Actually, on that point, actually, one interesting point is one of the reasons people converted from natural dyes to synthetic dyes is actually because of the vibrancy of the color. They were just getting a more vibrant color with synthetic dyes, right?
Yeah.
But one thing I've noticed with your work is you are able to get quite vibrant colors, which is quite interesting. I
Mm-hmm.
see that you're either drawn to them that makes you want to make sure that they are vibrant because for example, eco printing has become very popular here in Malaysia. Like if you go to the if you go to the
Yeah,
craft
the cotton
show
one.
in the last couple of years, all this whole eco thing is just blown up. Everybody's doing it.
Right.
But it's really very dirty looking, very murky, muddy, right? Not very clear. But then when I see your work, your colors are very bright and they're and your forms are very distinct. Is it a preference? You just you're looking to improve that when you do it.
I think maybe it's the way I do the because usually usually when you do the eco printing, it's better you have two-person to do together because
Oh, really?
when you start to roll the fabric, right, it has to
Uh,
be very, very tight in
okay.
order to the plants to like really
Sure,
press
sure.
on the
To the
fabric.
contact. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But if you do like one person, it will be loose a little bit, so it's
Yeah.
not that good. The
Yeah.
effect is not
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
I see.
So
I
if
see.
I cannot find any person to do with me, I need to find a chair or table or anything to make sure it's like very, very tight.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. The
Okay.
culture.
Okay. Yeah, I see that even when you do because we do like flower pounding as a just as a workshop, but when I've seen your flower pounding, the colors are really bright. You can get like a bright orange and stuff like that, which is quite amazing, you know. So your eye, you must be making it happen, you know.
Yeah. 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 It has to be. Yeah. It has to make it happen like with all these things.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so talk to me about your Taiwan residency. What are you going to do there?
So the Taiwan residency, I had to be there 1.5 months. So I had to live together with the hill tribe. The hill tribe is called Bunun tribes. So they are mainly live on the hillside. So they are the hill tribe. Right? So the
Which part of Taiwan is this?
east east part of Taiwan.
East part. Okay.
Yeah, east southeast.
Okay.
East. Yeah. So they actually agriculture they grow the main product they actually come out a lot of millet. They grow a lot of millet.
You what?
Millet. Millet. Millet.
Oh, millet. Okay. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So
Okay.
they are growing that the millet there. So they are also an expert for the backstrack weaving as well. So they are the weaver. They do the weaving stuff.
Okay.
So it's a good chance for me to improve my skills and to learn from them for the backstrack weaving.
What are their fabrics like? Are there fabrics like Southeast Asian fabrics, like Cambodian? You know how they
Yes.
are. Okay.
Actually, kind of similar with what I saw here, like the Hmong tribes in Thailand as
Okay.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of similar.
They're probably related, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. So
Yeah.
even though the method is same, That's him. So
Right.
when I first learned about the bachelor degree is actually in Chiang Mai. So now I need to improve my skills. So I need to improve the skill in Taiwan.
Uh,
So yeah, it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
so how long is your residency in Taiwan?
1.5 months.
1.5 months. And do you have to commit to doing something specific? Like you have to do a millet based or something like that. Okay. A site
Yeah.
specific relationship to your work. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And does it get exhibited in Taiwan?
I might stand a chance to exhibit in Taiwan, but they are being request to do artwork from me. So I will actually came out of being a woman boss for them.
Okay. Which
And
you, okay. So that's another thing you do. I forgot. You do masks. You like masks as well.
uh,
Okay. All right. Okay. And then what comes after Taiwan? Is there a plan after Taiwan? Do you have anything else lined up?
after Taiwan, I have to start prepare another artwork, another artwork for there's an upcoming exhibition in Singapore. It's also uh, it's held by the same company, the Nikoi Island, but this time in Singapore. So I need to contribute an artwork for the exhibition on November. So
What
yeah.
about Singapore? Isn't that a good resource in terms of customers or stuff like that? No? I mean, they have the money, you know?
I know maybe I might have the chance to know anyone from Singapore. I don't know, but I don't really focus in Singapore.
Okay.
I think.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, the reason I say is because then maybe JB might be more interesting, you know, because we're right next to it, you know. Yeah.
But yeah, I know. But maybe JB has not become it haven't had a hub that or art center in JB. So for those who doing artwork in Singapore, like artists Singapore, that has nothing to attract them to come to JB except except to buy all the grocery, right?
Right.
So they don't come
So
for
actually, there's something interesting about that because you know about this because you've been there with we're sort of talking with Kota Jail, who and yesterday I had a meeting with them and actually JB is going through a little bit of a transformation because they're developing this Sultan Ibrahim downtown hub thing. They spent a lot of money doing that. They're trying to make it a new uh, CBD. What's the CBD? It's a business center, right? Downtown business. That
yeah.
most cities kind of do that. I heard some awful news, which I don't love. I mean, I like the idea that they're changing and doing things, but they're not going to change the name. So it's not going to be called Johor Bahru. Can you believe this? They're going to change it to Sultan Ibrahim, blah, 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 something. I can't. So you have to go through all that nonsense again.
I don't know. I hope JB will become a better place for have a better art scene in Johor Bahru. Of course, because I come from there. I original from there.
Yeah.
But
I was talking to Ernest about this because, Ernest, I think I mean, Ernest is a really kind of high functioning artist. I think he does really interesting work. It's not just pretty, it's very intellectual, very interesting work. Which is I find quite different from a lot of other local artists. He's doing really the work is and it's very successful. He's able to create projects that are, in an exhibition can really speak to people, right? Yeah. So anyways, I was talking to him because Ernest is a Johor Bahru based Singaporean artist.
yeah,
He has a studio here, and I said to him, I don't understand why there aren't more artists like you because I used to live in New York, and most artists would do that. They would live in a cheaper So a lot of artists don't live in Manhattan; they live in Brooklyn, you know, and they enjoy cheaper rents, a lower cost of living, but they have a market nearby that they can go back and sell their product in, which is Manhattan, where the high incomes are. And I don't understand why we don't see more of that here in Johor Bahru because, but we don't. We just don't. I think I only know of two artists actually that live and work in JB, and I think the other one is left. Artist called Zai Kuning, whose work I also really like. He, but yeah, we don't really see it. Artists from Singapore are not colonizing a part of Johor Bahru, opening studios,
Right.
opening small cool shops. It's actually been Johor Bahru people doing that. You were one of the early pioneers of this creative community in Johor Bahru, right? Opening a shop
Yeah.
in downtown JB. How long
I
ago was
think
that?
now the trend is different. The trend is different because we need the original identity of Johor Bahru, especially for those youngsters. They need to recognize the identity of themselves.
Sure.
So so to allow them to find the direction. It's not to find the direction. It's like to how they can contribute to this place with the
Yeah.
Johor Bahru accent.
Yeah, but there's
Because
so many problems with that. I mean, I know
yeah,
as someone who was born here, lived
yeah,
and worked abroad, and have come back, that there are so many problems with that. One is you're living in a culture that does not celebrate. In fact, it's negatively affects creativity. I
right,
remember growing up saying, "Don't do anything creative. Don't waste your time."
right, yeah,
The people are scared to actually even so you're not encouraged to be creative, so that already is a problem. There's a creativity issue, because it's not cultivated, it's not celebrated. You're celebrated if you become a doctor or an engineer or something like that. So that's
right,
that's one
yeah,
big issue. The second issue is I think there are identity issues. We are struggling with identity here.
right,
you know,
yeah,
we have yet to
mm,
even formulate a Malaysian identity where everybody's so busy formulating their racial identity, how Chinese you are, how Malay you are, how Indian you are, rather than a Malaysian identity, which is
yeah. This
based
is what
on,
I say. It's not
right?
depend. It's not the race. It's not about the race, right? Or you are Malay, or you are Chinese, or India. It's as a Malaysian, the identity of Malaysian, because we have so interesting culture, like a mixed culture. This is very
Yeah,
interesting to
yeah,
me.
which is what something that
Yeah,
fascinates me in the work that I'm doing. The hybridity of it, you know,
right. Yes,
like a lot of the things that we think are Malaysian are actually hybrids of colonial, Malay, Indian,
yeah,
Chinese, all mixed together, and everybody forgets this.
right.
You know, they all
Yeah.
want to claim it as their own thing, and yeah. So we have quite a few things that are actually stopping us developing the identity. It will probably take some time, and it may even take some kind of cultural revolution here that changes how we perceive ourselves. Like when I teach children here, it's like the peer pressure that they apply to themselves is incredible. You know, it's so different from when I see children in the US or Europe that the
Notice
they
that.
are
Yeah.
they're encouraged to be individual, express themselves, whatever. Whereas here, it's the opposite. It's how do you express?
So it's opposite
Yeah,
way. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Don't be. Our parents will tell us, don't be too stand out.
yeah,
Don't be the special one.
yeah.
Okay. Or else you'll be outcast. So this is why I always encourage the youngster to be rebellious, or maybe stay out of the comfort zone. But you
Sure.
have to
Yeah.
stay, yeah. You
Yeah.
comfort
I,
your
I do
parents.
that all the time. All my friends' kids and my relatives' kids. Like I asked one kid, I said, what do you want to do for a living? And he said, I would be a dentist. I mean, I know that's not what the kid figured out. He's just, so I said to him, you really want to spend your whole life looking into people's stinky mouth? He was like, he was so shocked because no one had ever said anything negative about that job. These things
Right.
are put on such high pedestals that you never see. Sometimes these jobs are horrible. My sister's a doctor, and one day she was telling me she's a pediatrician. She's telling me, "Oh, yeah, I have to go to the diarrhea room," and I'm like, "What's a diarrhea room?" And she said, "Oh, kids. Almost 80% of them that come in, I basically have digestive problems. So projectile vomiting, projectile diarrhea. It's so bad that they actually have to have a diarrhea room." And I thought to myself, thank goodness I'm not a doctor and I have to every day go to work and have to live with the reality of a diarrhea room every day of my life.
Lucky you.
But that's the kind of thing
Lucky us.
but that's the kind of thing we don't talk about here.
Right.
We only talk about, how great it is, how, your social standing and your income about being a doctor or a dentist, and not about the actual negativity of it. So
Yeah, because I think it's because of the previous generation. We like my ancestor from China, so they've been through the tough time. So the best thing to offer the kids is to become a doctor. So the
yeah, I mean, I see that. I mean, I think the problem is actually a poverty mindset. It's because we're still trapped in that poverty mindset. We work pro. I mean, it's not so far away. People are only like two generations from maybe having had to
right.
help their parents tap rubber. You know,
Mhm.
so we are still not comfortable. We're not removed enough from it so that we can actually start to think of taking the risk. Like my sister, who's a doctor. Her husband is a doctor. His three kids, two of them are doctors, and the youngest one wanted to become a filmmaker. So
Mhm.
she calls me panicked about this. Okay. And then she wants to apply all her own fears about it. It's like, what's the right school to go to? Can you put money on the table? And I'm like, those are not the things to think about if that's what you decide to do.
Mhm.
Uh, you just have to figure out how can I become the best filmmaker I could be, and then I'll make money.
Mhm.
But that's not how things are approached here. Anyway, like most kids, most of my friends' kids who in the States or whatever, people here panic when their kids want to do anything creative. My American friends, they never panic when they're whatever. They're like, oh, you want to become a filmmaker and make skateboard films? Okay. Do you have the camera? Do we need to buy you a camera? You know, they don't worry about it. Whereas here, immediately they worry about it. And as it turns out, did she become a filmmaker? No. She, she ended up going to, I think, London School of Economics. I think she's doing a very regular job now. But I think, so that actually also relates to the creativity issue is that because they keep stopping children from actually exercising an opinion or a desire or an interest in things, we actually stop this ability to be self-determining and create our own destiny. Bit of a problem. So what happens is people have to end up like you, crazy, crazy lady, rebel, right? Or like me, right? Okay. All right, I
Lucky.
think. Yeah. And on that note, I think we've talked for about an hour. Wasn't so bad, right? You were a bit worried about this, right?
Yeah, yeah, another advice for young people, please be rebel.
Rebel, yes. Say no. Say no. Yeah. Do what you want to
Yeah,
do.
don't listen to your parents whatever they say.
Yeah, it's also the future because without creativity in a world full of robots and artificial intelligence, I don't think you can even earn a living, you know, unless you want a job repairing robots, I think at the end of the day, we are going to have to be the creative ones are the ones that are going to win. So we're going to be the winners. Okay. So, all right, Irene,
Mm, yeah.
thanks so much for talking with me and I'll catch up with you
Okay.
again at some point. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.